record, or clap, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not a good multi-language DJ. So welcome to Talk to the Entities free Zoom. My name's Alison Cox, and I have been a Talk to the Entities certified facilitator for, I don't know, I think like 5 years or something like that, or more. I don't remember. Time doesn't really make sense anymore anyway. I will remember to talk slow. There are over 150 people on this Zoom, and people from all over the world. That means entities from all over the world. And holy crap, what that just made me hot even saying that. So where shall we start? So Talk to the Entities is a Access Consciousness specialty class. It was created by Shannon O'Hara, who is Gary Douglas's daughter. Gary Douglas is the founder of Access Consciousness. And her mission in life about 15 years ago became to empower others and educate others about entity awareness, entity communication, receiving from entities. So she started to create these classes that now other facilitators can facilitate all around the world. There's literally Talk to the Entities facilitators in, I don't know how many countries really, but there's over 100 facilitators worldwide. So the fun part about this is where do we start? Let's see. So some people think that there is not a fun part about entities. Some people have learned that there is a fun part about entities, and some people even know how to receive and work with entities. So not all entities are the same. There are an entity in general. The definition of an entity is any defined energy. So what the heck does that mean? So it can be like you're an entity, you're a girl, you're a man, you're a boy, you're a man, you're a woman. This is your job, this is your family, all the different definitions that make you up, make you the entity that you are. A business can be an entity, a plant or a tree can be an entity. So you can have ghost entities that were people that have then died or crossed over, or however you would like to say it. There are spirits of the earth, so entities that work with nature and the plants and that we can work with too. There are creature entities, there are like demons and angels and all kinds of fun stuff, and the list goes on and on. It's a huge kingdom of entities, and it's a huge world. It's a whole world that's kind of like right next to our world. It's always there. You just might not be able to see it all the time. Just because you can't see it yet or ever does not mean that it's not there and that you can't play with that world also, even if you have no idea what you're doing. And if you have no idea what you're doing, that's probably even better. Being able to communicate with entities really is a muscle that you have to strengthen and practice, and you have to lower your barriers, and you have to be out of control. Anytime you try to control the outcome, it makes it harder for the entities to get through or contribute to you. If you have any expectations, muting you, if you have any expectations of what's going to show up, you are going to block a lot of what you can receive. And if you have any definitions of what entities are or they are not, you're also going to limit what you can gift and receive and what you can create with entities in general. For example, even recently, I've been doing this for 5 years, and just last week, I was really angry for about 3 days, and I was upset, and I hated life, and everything sucked, and I just wanted to give up, and my money stuff was going bad, and I didn't like, it just was like this heavy dark cloud over my head forever for a good 3 days last week. And I was like, "Ugh, what is this?" And I didn't ask if it was entities. I didn't ask if this was even mine. I didn't ask any questions. I just like indulged in it for 3 days. Finally, after going crazy, I was like, okay, actually, what is this? Is this an entity or something else? And I got, oh, it's an entity. And actually, I ended up getting a session from my friend, who was also a Talk to the Entities facilitator, because it was that intense. And so what we found out was that I had a point of view still. I used to have this point of view before I was a Talk to the Entities facilitator, that if I couldn't recognize it, if it didn't make sense to me, if it wasn't what I was used to, then it must be bad. So we found that this entity, we're like, okay, is this an entity or something else? Oh, it's an entity. We found out that this entity was actually trying to contribute something to me in a positive way, and I was blocking it out like crazy. And he's like, no, I'm trying to, you literally asked for me to show up yesterday. I'm here. Why won't you receive from me? Finally, I was like, oh, I'm going to lower my barriers and let go of all the points of view I have about what entities are and what they aren't and what they can be and what they can't be. Clear all of that. And all right, what does this guy have to show me? And it was actually a really cool goblin energy, which is an earth entity. Goblins used to have bodies way like hundreds or thousands of years ago here on the planet. They're extinct now in body form, but they definitely are still here in a totally different form, a transform form. And entities of the earth are so fun to play with. And sometimes they will often not or never play with you if you aren't willing to be totally interesting point of view about everything they are and everything they can show you. Because what we think of them and what we think of all entities limits what they can be for us. So I'm trying to figure out where to start really with this call, because there are people who have had an entities class before, who haven't had an entities class before, who are scared of entities, who aren't scared of entities. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask so far? Any question, and you guys do not have to. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Go, Elena.
Me?
Yes. I can't read your name for some reason.
My name is Elena. I'm from Russia.
Hi.
My question is, I have this point. I have not visited the Talk to the Entities class, and my question is, I have this point of view that if you ask entities to bring you something, you have to pay them.
Right.
What can you say about this?
So this is a great, thank you for that question. That's a perfect question to start with. There have been in the past so many colleges, cults, religions that make you, that have kind of condemned or damned and judged people who have entity awareness and capabilities with entities. So all of these past lifetimes have, there's been all these myths and misleading rules and all of these lies that have been implanted into our psyche and into all of the legends and the stories of entities. So if you ask, it's like, the reality of man, or this reality, says that you have to give something, and when you give something, then somebody owes you something. Or if someone gives you something, then you feel like you have to give them something back. Like, just receiving is not allowed. However, true receiving is receiving a gift, and the gratitude, and then everything that builds up after that is the gift and the contribution that is possible beyond what this reality says, beyond the give-take program. And so with entities, like, people will stop themselves from receiving gifts, energies, even just a pat on the back, receiving anything from entities because secretly they think they will have to pay them back or they'll owe them something. That is not true. Like, how many times have you tried to help someone or tried to give someone something, or even been in a relationship and you had so much to give that person, but they just couldn't receive it, and it was like almost abusive, and it just felt so bad that you couldn't give all the things that you wanted to give that person. So you started to shut you down, and then you started to judge you and judge them and all these things. Same thing with entities. The more you just receive what they would like to give to you, whether it's just communication, whether it's just like a goosebumps up your neck, whether it is physical things like money or anything. I received like 50 bottles of organic unsweetened iced tea once out of nowhere to my old apartment. I was like, huh, that's from an entity, weird. Like, they will just give you little gifts that if you just receive them and have gratitude for them with no point of view, it gives back to them so much, and it starts to open the door even more for even more with the entity world. Practice every day. Even like every morning you could say, okay, you could call in a practice entity or a family member that's passed away, or even I would always suggest practicing with a tree, or sometimes I practice with the mountains, or wherever you are. If you're by the ocean, you can practice with dolphins or fish, or whatever is fun for you to practice with. You can lay in bed and ask to connect to that being or that entity or that essence. And just say, hey, what can you show me today? What can you show me about receiving? What can you show me about communication? What can you show me about communication with bodies, without bodies? Receiving energy, and just see what starts to show up, because you'll be surprised. And the more you practice, the more it changes every single day.
Thank you so much. The energy is so light. I feel it.
Yay, thank you. That was such a great question. Awesome. Let me see. So what else, you guys? What would
Alison,
you like? Yeah.
Alison, I can read a question from the chat, Russian chat. So I'm afraid of the dark and everything that is in this room. And I have a perception that something is there. How can I manage with this fear? How to stop be afraid of entities?
Cool. Another great question. That is an awesome question. Thank you. So I can...
Alison, one moment, I read in
Oh, yeah,
Russian.
go ahead.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Так, вопрос из русского зума. Я боюсь темноты и все, что есть в этой комнате. Есть ощущение, что там кто-то есть. Как справиться с этим страхом? Как перестать бояться сущности? Это вопрос заданный.
Cool.
Okay.
Yay, thank you. So that is a great question, especially when I was younger. I was terrified of the dark since I can remember anything. I was terrified of ghosts. I hated to be alone at night. My parents would go for walks at night, and my brother and I would be sleeping, and I'd be so scared. I could perceive so many energies in my room. I knew things were there, but I also was making them not real because they're not supposed to be real. Your parents tell you ghosts aren't real, monsters aren't real, the dark is safe, even though you're like, no, it's not. Someone is gonna jump through my window. Someone's gonna burn down the corner of my house. At my dad's house, my room was in the basement. I'm like, this is the scariest room ever. If I don't run up the stairs by the count of 3, the monster's gonna get me. It never did. I always made it up before I counted to 3, but only because I counted to 3. Just kidding. So many of these things we learn from our parents' point of view, from the movies. So many points of view about entities being bad and scary and monsters and having more power than you are from the movies. or what your parents have heard, that you, when you're young, when you're a baby, you literally are so autistic, you think you are your parents. You are, from the age of 0 to 2, picking up on every single point of view that your parents have and making it your point of view. You're like, how do you be a human here? This is how I'm going to worry about this, 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 and this. I won't worry about this, but I've got it right, so I never have to change it. This is right, never have to change it. I'm going to worry about this, this, this. You have thousands and millions of points of view that you pick up on from your parents, your teachers, your friends, your enemies, the TV, that you start to make your point of view, and you start to create all of that stuff as your reality, and your reality with entities. And most people, their reality with entities is to shut it off, shut it out, keep it away. I just sent out a video about barriers on my YouTube channel. It's free. It's really, there's a bunch of tools on there, but one of the YouTube videos, Tools to Change Anything, is lower your barriers. So if you are scared in your room at night, if you're scared anywhere, if you land in a place, like I used to land in different countries and all of a sudden be so anxious, all my barriers would go up and I wouldn't really know what to do. I felt like I was paralyzed. I would sit at the airport for sometimes 3 hours, like trying to figure out if I should take a taxi or the bus or what, until, that was always interesting, until I lowered my barriers and I asked, what am I actually aware of here? And I was aware of entities, the city, other points of view, the neighbors' points of view, the world's point of view, like what is happening on the world. You actually have the capacity to be aware of everything, even beyond as big as the planet. So does it feel light or heavy? Can you be aware of the next city over? Or can you be aware of your next door neighbor? Can you be aware of New York City right now? Can you be aware of South Africa right now? That's weird. Can you be aware of the moon? What's happening on the moon right now? Can you be aware of a different planet with other creatures on it, maybe? That's pretty light. So, and you don't have to be able to see these things. They never have to be proven to you. It's just when you lower your barriers and you acknowledge, oh, maybe I'm aware of something I can't see here. Cool, what information is it giving me? Do I have to do anything about it? And so if you're in your room and you perceive that someone's or something is there, lower your barriers, no matter how scary it seems. That's exactly what was happening to me last week. I was like scared of this energy and I didn't want to look at it until I looked at it. And then it was this beautiful energy that is like here with me to help me create my future and my life for a long time. I was like, wow, this is cool. Even if it's a scary energy, you have questions that you can use. And the 3 things you will ever ask any entity, and this is from Talk to the Entities, is would you like to clear, communicate, or receive? To clear an entity, we'll go over that in a minute. So, and it can be like 2 out of the 3, or 1 out of the 3, or all 3. And you don't have to figure it out completely, just ask and then try one of them. So clearing is, sometimes people will be like, well, I cleared all the entities and nothing changed. It's like, okay, well, clearing is not just about getting the thing to go away. Not everything is bad, not everything is good. Clearing is actually shifting the energy, clearing the identity of something so that it can change and choose something different in the future. So the talk to the entities clearing entity statement is, and I will get to your question in a second, Emma. The truth, who are you? Who were you before that? 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 And who will you be in the future? You can also ask, truth, what are you? What were you before that? What were you before that? What were you before that? And what will you be in the future? You can also ask an entity what its job is. So truth, what is your job? What was your job before that? What was your job before that? What was your job before that? And what will your job be in the future? Please take all of your magnetic imprinting and baggage connected to that. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So the clearing statement, when you clear entities, you just ask, you'll do this with about 80% of the people entities or creature entities or any entity that wants to be cleared. You can't clear an entity that does not want to be cleared. Don't forget. So if it's not gone after you clear it, do not make you wrong. Just ask another question. What else is possible here I haven't considered? So when you ask, who are you? The entity is like, I'm so-and-so. Hello, so-and-so. And you do not have to know their name or what they are. Just, you'll get an energy or just know that it's working. Who are you? Who were you before that? And then the entity has to go, oh, I was actually this before I was me. Who were you before that? Oh, I was that person before I was me. Well, who were you before that? And sometimes you'll ask, what were you? Sometimes things can be different creatures, or they were a different life form, body form, other lifetimes. So you'll keep asking the questions back in time until you start to relax and lighten up. And then you'll ask, okay, who will you be in the future? So then they get to go choose their next body or their next place or their next not body, or they get to hang around if they want and be a ghost for a while. That's totally cool too. It's not wrong to be a ghost. It can be kind of fun sometimes. So what if you had no point of view of having a body or not having a body? What if whatever was fun for you is what you got to choose? Some entities like, or some beings, you're a being, entities are beings, some beings like to be on different planes. We like being on a physical plane with these bodies, otherwise we wouldn't be here. If you don't, there are other choices. Entities that don't like to have bodies, or entities that are people that are dead and do like to have bodies too, you can then invite them to go get a new body. Which is really cool. Or also, if an entity gets acknowledged that it's okay to not have a body and you can hang around for as long as you want, then that entity has space. They don't have to make themselves wrong. They can relax. They can choose when they'd like to choose. And family members love to hang around all the time. Pets love to hang around. It's just like whatever works for you guys is what's going to work. And if it's not working, you can always ask questions and change it. Cool. Was I going to say something else? Does that help with the?
Yes, you had three variants, clear and two.
Thank you. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay. So there's clear, communicate. The second thing you'll ever ask an entity is communicate. Would this entity like to tell me something? Would this entity like to, for me to communicate to it? Would this entity like me to communicate to someone else for them? Like if you're on this Zoom, everybody has their own capacity with entity communication. Some people, the people that don't, they still do, but they wouldn't be on this Zoom. So if you're on this Zoom, consider yourself ahead of the game. You are actually interested in entity communication. And when you are interested in it, when you have the ability or when you are willing to choose it. So entity communication doesn't happen to you. You actually have to choose it and practice it. So, but when you're willing to choose it, entities will start to come to you. You can choose it And you can choose I should say you can choose ease with it, or you can choose not ease with it. Everyone has the ability. It's just what will you choose, ease or not ease with it. So if you, oh, communication, okay. Thank you, whoever's head that was. Communication, so entities can't exactly talk like I'm talking to you right now. Once in a while, I've heard an entity talk literally out loud when I was like half asleep and I was like, what's going on? But most of the time, entities will communicate energetically and telepathically. So your imagination is not usually ever your imagination. Your thoughts, feelings, and emotions are coming from somewhere. Entities will communicate in thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So if all of a sudden you're cranky one day, like I was last week, and you don't acknowledge, you can ask, okay, I'm cranky for no reason. This isn't changing. Is this an entity? And you'll get an expansive light feeling if it is, and you'll get like a heavy or no feeling if it's not. So the light and heavy tool. And so most of the time, entities will communicate in pictures, thoughts, feelings, emotions. Your body will let you know. You might get a pain somewhere or a ringing in your ear. The ringing in your ear is super common for me. Goosebumps, hot flashes, headaches, like sneezing a million times in a row or coughing a million times in a row. So many different things. Or you'll walk in a room and it's just cloudy and you're like, why is it so cloudy in here? Then you want to ask, is this entities or something else? Haunted houses are real, except haunted houses, entities are just energies that can be shifted or not. So it's just another thing you get to play with. Everything not allowing you to play with the world of entities. Can you uncreate and destroy all of that times a godzillion? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. For anyone who's a newbie to Access Consciousness, that is the clearing statement. Go to theclearingstatement.com to go check out more about that. It's really cool and I use it for everything. And so do a lot of people who I see here. So there's communication. You want to, thank you, Victoria. You want to, before you start with communication and receiving, you're gonna have to get rid of your fear, any fear you have of entities, and any doubt you have. So uncreating and destroying all the fear and any doubt that you have until your muscle starts to build for communication is a really good idea. If you have any fear, if you have any doubt, it's going to be really hard for them to get through to you and for you to receive what they have to say. Talk to the entities. The beginning class is, I don't even know how to explain the magnitude of the fear it clears in the weekend. It's like 2.5 days. And before I took that class, I had so much anxiety. I had what I thought was a low level anxiety every single day. I was aware of so many entities. I was aware of so much around the world. Until I took that class, I realized I had a high level of anxiety because right after that class ended, like all the anxiety went away. I could travel to different countries, which I had done for years, but I was also terrified at the same time. And I was terrified of like thunderstorms until I was in college. And I was scared of the dark forever until I talked to the entities and got rid of the fear of energy that I didn't recognize and got rid of the fear of entities and was able to lower my barriers. So number one, to communicate with entities, keep pock and potting your fear. Barriers down. And try not to judge yourself for where you're at right now. The more you judge yourself, the more you doubt yourself, you're just going to solidify the reality of doubt more. You're going to tell the universe you would like more things to prove your doubt. You're correct and you're doubting you. So you want to clear the distractor implants and clear the doubt of what you're capable of receiving and your communication skills. It's just practice. It's like everybody can come into the world singing. Everybody can sing, but some can sing better than others, and some people take lessons. And everyone can sing, and if you take lessons and you practice, you're going to get better and better and better. And then receiving, one of the things that opened up my receiving with entities, not only was the beginning class, but the advanced class with Shannon O'Hara. Like, she has a way with showing you what receiving is, because it's not something you can figure out. You can't, if you're thinking, you cannot receive, period. Isn't that so annoying? Let me figure out how to receive this. If you're thinking, you can't receive. So you basically, like, getting your bars run is going to help with receiving totally. You get your bars run, you can think all you want, but the bars are going to work on all of those stuck points of view and all of those things. So getting your bars run will help you with receiving from everything. Again, you can practice with a tree, like a fruit tree or any tree or a plant, and just ask it questions and see what shows up in your head. And that's a form of communication, and it's also a form of receiving, acknowledging the tree or acknowledging its beauty, or just when you go outside, like receiving the sun, the wind, the Monica, hi Monica, the everything that would like to gift to you, just receiving it and not having to owe, but being in gratitude for everything that the universe is asking and begging to gift to you, just because that's what it loves to do, is a great place to start. And we talk more about also receiving in the beginning class, because some entities want to give you things that don't necessarily work for you. So you just want to ask, like, an entity who was a hoarder and thinks that a piece of trash is amazing, and it's like, but it loves you, and it just keeps giving you this trash energy, and you're like, well, I'm receiving from this entity, but I don't understand, like, why this sucks. It's like, well, maybe you're not a hoarder, and maybe the trash isn't exactly valuable to you. So you can say, wow, thank you so much, and would you like to go somewhere else? Like, you don't have to. Receiving also includes receiving you and what works for you. So you can ask entities to go away. You don't need to, like, if you received every single piece of trash from every person on the street and you brought it home and you kept it because you thought that that was like the polite and correct thing to do, your house would be disgusting pretty soon. So you still have a choice in what you can receive. You can be grateful that that entity would like to do that, but also you can say no thank you. And that is a contribution that's receiving you too, receiving the right to say no. Also, with the receiving part, some entities will want something from you or of you. So you want to ask that too. So receiving, there's clearing. Clearing is, hey, would this entity like to clear? Yes or no? Communicating, would this entity like to tell me something? Would this entity like me to talk to somebody else? Do I even know this person? If not, go bring them to me. And receiving, would this entity like to gift me something? Would this entity like something from me? And is this a contribution, or will this decay my future? Will this create or decay my future? Let's see here. So, a couple of times now I've been woken up by a hand grabbing me. It feels heavy and threatening, so I ask it to go away. What should I be asking instead? So you can definitely, lower your barriers when you feel that. I've had that when I was a kid too, and I'd go tell my parents and they'd be like, no, you're crazy. I'm like, no, really, something just freaking poked my leg. Or like I'd see weird things like spiders go under my sheets and then they wouldn't be there, and then they'd think I was crazy, but I knew it was real. So, and I didn't have any of these tools before. So again, lower your barriers. Again, the beginning class helps you get past the fear, as if by magic, of anything having more power than you, of like demon energies. you get all these tools that literally get rid of your points of view about them, or if they are there, you have all the power to clear and shift all of that crappy stuff. But in a nutshell, you want to lower your barriers and ask, okay, is this an entity? Yes, that one's a yes. And okay, entity, would you like to clear, communicate, or contribute? And that one, you just see which one is light for you. I was just going into
Thank you.
What did you say?
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then you can play with it from there. When I was little, I'd be like terrified, trying not to go wake up my little brother to bring him in my room. Parents were on a walk, and I would see this like portal moving around the room with a hand coming out of it. And it happened a few times, and I was like, oh my effing God, that's not real. And I would shut my eyes and just try to pretend it's not real, but it definitely was real. So any points of view that we made and all the conclusions and decisions when we were little that we're still holding on to, that are limiting our capacities with entities and our receiving and our knowing and our being. Truth, can you all uncreate and destroy all of that times a godzillion? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Whew. Cool.
Alison,
Yes.
I have a bunch of questions.
Yay!
Russian chat.
There is not wine in here.
The information that comes from dreams, is it also a communication with entities, or it's our capacities, abilities?
The information that comes from...
Информация, которая приходит из снов, это тоже разговор с сущностью или это наши возможности?
What did she say? The information that comes from...
From dreams, during dreams.
Thank you.
Is it talk to entities?
Sometimes. That's a good question too. I love that question. Dreams, if you make them too significant, so in Access Consciousness, we talk about anything you make significant, you limit. And so dreams are one of the easiest things to make significant. So they definitely can be entities communicating with you. They definitely are happening somewhere, wherever that is, whatever dimension, whatever time, past, present, future. And oftentimes you will deal with things in dreams that you don't want to deal with while you're awake. So everything that you don't want to deal with while you're awake that would be beneficial or a contribution to deal with when you're awake, can you uncreate and destroy all of that times a godzillion? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys, beyonds. One of the things that like people will make themselves wrong for not being able to communicate with entities, but they do it in their sleep all the time. So everything not allowing you to do it awake or asleep, whatever's more fun for you, can you uncreate and destroy all of that times a godzillion? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys, beyonds. Okay, is there another question?
Can you tell me about walk-ins, please?
Yep. Walk-ins, we talk a lot about, like we go in depth in the beginning class. And walk-ins are, in a nutshell also, because that's a huge subject, a walk-in is basically when you, the being, are born into a body and you go along for a little while and all of a sudden something happens, like a car crash, or you just want to die, or it's like a trauma or drama happens, or a bunch of other different reasons, but basically you want to leave the body. So you put this for rent sign up above your head and another being is flying over and it's like, woo, a body for rent. And it flies into the body, and now that is a walk-in entity. That is now you. And God, it gets more complicated after that, but basically the first entity that was you oftentimes it can just go away and find a new body or do a new thing. Oftentimes it will go to sleep, and you, the new being, will be there and in control, except you might not be able, like some characteristics of if you are a walk-in. So it's probably more common to be a walk-in than not be a walk-in. Some people have walked in many times. Some people have multiple entities in them. And one of the, like a few characteristics of being a walk-in are you can't remember your childhood, or I forget all the different things. It's hard to make decisions, or like you get a yes, no for everything, or just like different, I don't remember. I'm like, where are all my entity people? Basically, like you'll know it from when you take the class. We go through this whole section and there's tons of clearings. And when I hear you speak in class, I will be like, oh, hey, Truth, are you a walk-in? And you'll be like, holy crap, I never knew. And like, I was terrified of finding out if I was a walk-in or not. Like I was not ready for maybe after I took the class for 3 or 4 times. And everybody else was a walk-in, and I'm actually not a walk-in, which is funny. I haven't really met too many other people that are not walk-ins. Everything that brings up, can you guys uncreate and destroy it times a godzillion? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys beyonds. Did that help explain what a walk-in is? That was like the weirdest explanation ever.
I think so. Thank you. I feel like I'm not the only person, or not the only being.
Oh, is that light or heavy for you?
Light.
Yeah. So you're correct. And it's, again, really common. I think, so I'm not a walk-in, but I'm definitely probably should have been labeled as schizophrenic by now, except I found these tools. Like I've had different entities who I've given different jobs without knowing, and they've been around me for so long, and sometimes they'll wake up and then I can clear them, and I just kind of work with it when it shows up. So you can also ask if any of the entities around you are ready to leave and try to clear them and see how it goes. Or the class, like really, 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 there is nothing else that's faster, easier, and you don't have to figure it out than the talk to the entities classes. It's like, what the heck? There's no sage. There's no like drinking the blood of a snake or drinking tea out of a unicorn horn. I don't know. I wish we had those, but it's fine. So yeah, we go more into that in the class, or there's even individual classes that are just solely about walk-ins. If you have any questions about that, you guys can email me, and if enough people are interested, I can have a class on that. And then, Dimitri, were there more questions over there?
Yes, I have a bunch of questions. Next one, should I read clearing by myself, or should I ask anyone else?
Whatever's
Клиринг, вопрос задали, клиринг нужно самой читать или чтобы другой человек?
Whatever's fun for you. So I use
что для вас будет веселее?
Let me just, oh, thank you. When I like hearing it in Russian. Whatever is fun for you, I use the clearing statement in my head all the time. I would suggest using it on your own. Us doing the clearing entities together, like clears millions and probably billions of entities and is really powerful. But you alone, when you clear an entity, like what's light for you? Can you clear 5 entities? Can you clear 20 entities by yourself? Can you clear 100 entities by yourself? You can actually clear by yourself hundreds or thousands of entities just by doing one clearing statement. If you're going to work on a whole country, You might want to get a group of your friends, or if you're going to work on a city, you might want to get a group of your friends. Like in classes, like if we had a class right now this size, we could work on a city, possibly a country even, and literally change the entity world and the points of view of entities in that country, in that city. We could ask for, we could empower the earth beings there. I have goosebumps, oh my God. So like if you want to get with your friends and clear entities, it is a contribution. If you want to get in a class with lots of people in it, it is a contribution. And when you contribute, the more you contribute, the more generosity of spirit you have, the more you're going to get in return, probably tenfold. And then it just keeps going. Everything not allowing you to know, be, perceive, and receive that, can you uncreate and destroy it times a godzillion? Right and wrong, whoa, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Cool. Next question.
I have one, Allison.
Oh, sure.
What is an enforced portal?
Where did you hear that?
From the first Talk to the Entity class.
Well, you find out you're correct, the Talk to the Entities class.
I listened through them all and it never was answered. The name was said and then it wasn't answered. And I wrote in and asked a few times and I never got an answer.
Okay, well, basically, almost all, there's different portals. There's natural portals in the planet. There's natural portals in your body. Like you put something in one end and it comes out the other. That's a portal. And you, that was funny. Some portals have been created though. So a portal is just a thing that something goes through. So many visuals right now. And so a portal, you can have like entity portals, demon portals, creature portals, any kind of portal. And any portal that is invented or created always has enforcer entities around it.
Oh, like a guard, but
Yeah.
isn't necessarily good for you. It's
right. They will. Yep, they're just enforcer entities. If the portal is working for you, awesome. If it's not, you got to clear those dudes first.
okay. So that's an ongoing thing, clearing it and getting aware and hip to what's going on.
All kinds of fun. Yeah, you don't ever just get entities or fix everything all in one go. It is being present and aware and being in question forever, which might sound tiring and exhausting, but it's way easier than ignoring and using all of that energy to block it all out.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing without meaning to, just without, you explained it so clearly, thank you, that I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that.
Yay, awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, Russia.
Okay, Russia back. Should we let our relatives that came to us go away? Like if they come to us like to protect us as angel, нужно ли отправлять родственников, которые пришли защищать, как ангел-хранитель? And if they came and silent, and I don't understand what they want, so they, as if they even also don't know what they want, and they make me headache. And so they like don't have any clear goal. What should I do in this case? Вопросы, если про родственников, которые пришли, если они пришли и молчат, и непонятно, что хотят, какая-то полная неопределенность, такое чувство, что хотят, а чего сами не знают, но при этом вызывают головную боль. Им явно что-то надо, пришлось долго выгонять. Может, надо было по-другому спросить. Они как будто пришли поразвлекаться, кино посмотреть. Что в таком случае делать? Окей.
So angels, demons, spirit guides, all of those things. There have been so many misidentification, misapplication, confusion of what all of these things are in the Bible. Oh my God, it is like the angels are called demons and the demons are called angels, and it's like, and then the angels are actually not angels, but these ones are angels, but it's all like mixed up. So there's tons of misidentifications of what angels are and angels aren't. We go over that also in the beginning class. You can also get Shannon's Beings of Light book. I don't think it's in Russian yet. It just came out, but it is such a good book. And her Talk to the Entities book, such a good book that kind of explains more of that. But we talk about it in class, and basically anything that is actually an angel or a being of light is not ever going to tell you what to do. It's not going to force itself on you. It's not going to make you feel bad or wrong. Your team, we call them in Talk to the Entities, your teammates. They're more like the beings of light, the team that's there for you, your guardian angels, which we don't really like to call them that either. They are there for you, but you have to ask for their assistance. They're like, we can't wait to assist you with whatever you want. You can have the keys to the kingdom and we want to contribute, but you have to ask of them. Any other entity that feels like an angel, or you literally perceive it has wings, there's a different angelic realm, and they probably aren't as fun to play with. So tell them to go away or clear them. Or you can also book a private session with me or any Talk to the Entities facilitator, or just ask your friends and access to ask you questions, or take the class. Like, we're going to have a class. There's going to be an online class on the 22nd of this month, April 22nd, and it is online. It's worldwide. We've got people from the United States and Russia and Iceland and all over, and we're going to deep dive into all of these things, and you can bring your you'll personally get facilitated with your stuff, and that's going to answer a lot of questions for everybody about the confusion of angels, demons, ghosts, fear. There's a huge section on fear, like I said before, and it just changes things like none other. Let's see. Next question.
Okay, also from Russian.
Mm-hmm.
What questions can I ask to plant? Какие вопросы я могу задавать растениям?
What questions can I ask to plants?
Plants, trees.
Oh, any question. Oh my God. So you can ask, like, I just bought a plant yesterday. Hello. And I'm staring at it right now. And I'm like, hi. So right now we're just kind of getting to know each other. I'm like, I'm so excited you're here. What can I contribute to you? What would you like to show me? Do you like music? How much water do you like? Do you like other things besides water? How much sunlight would you like? What can you show me about plants? What can you show me about communication? What can you show me about your being? And when I ask it what it can show me about its being, like, she is just like, hi, like, I couldn't describe it in words. I'm gonna go get her really quick just to show you. She's just so happy to be here. See, isn't she so cute? I'm just like, oh my God. Plants are kind of like puppies or kittens. Literally, if you lower your barriers and you ask, like, hi, show me your essence, or hey, what's up? Or you just perceive like the joy and the energy that comes from any plant. There is no incorrect question and there is no correct question. So everything that allowing you guys just to receive beyond words. Can you uncreate and destroy all of that times a godzillion? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. I'm gonna put you down for just a minute. Was there another question from Russia?
Allison, there are a couple in the English
I
chat.
didn't see all these. Thank you for
Some are about bars and private conversations, but some are like, somebody asked, what do you know about weed and entities? And somebody asked about insects coming into their apartment and whether that could be connected with entities. And then Elena had a question that she accidentally sent me individually. So.
Bars you can run on yourself. It works a lot better, like 1,000 times better. Not better, but stronger if you have someone else run your bars, but you can definitely run your own bars whenever you'd like. And it is awesome when you have no other choice. Brandy forgot the Zoom link. But I ran my bars last night while I watched a movie, and it was glorious. Let's see. The insects are interesting. I just remember watching the insects. So if everything wants to contribute to you, what information are you not getting, or are the insects trying to give you? Good or bad? Thank you, Kristen. Insects are a fun conversation to have. We're not going to have it right now because we're almost out of time, but it's like, okay, if I had my barriers down and this was just information, what are the bugs trying to tell me? And is there what can I do with this? Can I change it? Would the bugs like to be outside? Is it really cold outside? And the weed thing, oh my God, do I have experience with weed and entities? I never smoked weed, but I always had boyfriends who smoked weed like a lot. And then I was always around people who smoked weed a lot. And I happen to live in Denver, Colorado. That is one big weed cloud. So especially now that no one has anything else to do. So weed, in general, if you use it or you're too close to it, some people, it can affect their money. It can attract entities. And weed is usually used just to be unaware. So it's a good way if you want to have your barriers up and you don't like doing it yourself, smoke weed. And what was the last question? And you can smoke weed if you want. Like, I don't have a judgment if you smoke weed or don't smoke weed.
It's Elena put it back, the last one in the chat.
Oh, okay. I have pain in the low of my stomach. What question will help me to have more awareness with this? So, Elena, is that pain yours or someone else's? Hi, Brandy.
Someone else's.
Cool. Can you return it to sender with consciousness attached?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, online, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Cool. Is it changing at all?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, it feels like it's changing over here. Yeah, just let that keep running for a while. And then, and you can also ask, sometimes entities will stand too close to you or cause pain or whatever. Ask them to back up. Say, hey, this is too intense for me, back up. Or can we do this a different way?
Yes, it works. Thank you very much.
Yay, you're welcome. Thank you. That was awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Pia. I haven't seen you in forever too. Oh my God. Okay. So that's about it for today. Again, we have a class coming up online on April 22nd. I will send out the replay and the link for that class. You have to have had a bars class. With the online class, you do not need an introduction class because it's included in the 7 calls. It's 7 calls that we'll be doing for the beginning class. My words, I think we're done because my brain is now fried. But we'll give you all of that information. I would love to see all of you on there. And thank you so much for being on here. Like, what did we change even with just this little big call? That's it for now. Bye, everybody. Thank you. It was a mini intro for sure. Yay!
Thanks,
Thank
Allison.
Thank you, Allison. This was
you.
great.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.